So, we have been talking about the social backdrop, the social and also the social political background of that period when this novel was written, 1925. We have been talking about the major incidents, the major events that have been taking place during this time, during Dreiser's age. We know the novel was published in 1925, and we have already talked about the social conditions of that time. You remember the war and the immediate effects, after effects of the war, the First World War, and how America became a booming economy, and then after that there was a period of Great Depression, that was 1929 onwards. Okay, but this novel, which was written in 1925, it looks to a certain section of society. Actually, it presents a very broad panoramic view of the American society. This is something you have to understand, very broad. So, you have extremely rich people as symbolized by the Griffith family. Yeah, please keep on, be interactive. The Griffiths. So, you have the hero Clyde Griffith. Okay. Sondra. Sondra is the so called heroine of the novel, and she comes from an extremely wealthy family. Okay. Yeah. So, we have people like the Griffiths and Sondra occupying the upper echelons of society. Okay. Then we have at the bottom lowest, see there are two brothers, and yes. So, Clyde Griffith's father happens to be a missionary. We have already been through all this, and we have already seen the suppression and the destructive effects of this so called attitudes, and you have to now tell me, because I am just assuming you know a lot about these things. What is Puritanism and Puritanical behavior? What is it, and why is Puritanism so important for us in context of this novel? Austerism and extreme emphasis on purity, and purity in observing particularly physical chastity, okay, sexual purity. So, those are extremely important things to remember, that his parents are totally driven by puritanical tendencies. Okay. And therefore, his sister, what's his sister's name? Esther. Okay. What happens to her? She gets pregnant, she elopes, she gets pregnant, she comes back, she is abandoned. Now, we are talking of this panoramic view of the American society. So, you have the other Griffiths, you have Clyde Griffiths, who let us consider them a little bit upper middle class, the lower middle class. They are definitely not upper middle, but the lower middle class, but then we have dirt poor people also here. And who are those dirt poor people? The likes of the family, the likes of Roberta's family. And who is Roberta here? Roberta Alden, the factory girl. Okay. Her parents are extremely impoverished farmers. There is nothing there except dirt. Okay. So, that is the level of that poverty. So, we have been talking about, so now a complete, and then you have men, women of all kinds. You have those people, there is this girlfriend that he makes when he is still back home. What is her name? Hortense. Okay. And we have also seen, if you have been reading the novel, what kind of a girl is she. So, it is not like a very sympathetic portrayal. So, we are looking at that in realism there is sympathy, there is empathy for character. So, these are the main differences, these are the distinctive elements, realism and naturalism. In naturalism, you have unsympathetic characters, very objectively drawn. So, you have a girl like Hortense, and let me tell you, Dreiser is extremely condemning of mankind. He is nowhere the most sympathetic character happens to be who in this novel? Not even Roberta, not even Roberta, but only Clyde Griffith's mother, who is a missionary, and that is very surprising considering Dreiser's own attitude towards religion, his complete antipathy and apathy. So, that was the kind of person he himself was. He ran off to Hollywood, he did not he did not meet success for a very long period because he would write graphic novels, graphic in the sense about human depravity. So, he therefore, we credit him as being one of the most foremost writers of naturalism in America and about human depravity. And the novels used to be, all those unpublished novels were so depraved in nature that publishers would refuse because again remember we were still in those puritanical times, okay. And therefore, his first novel was a success, Sister Carrie. However, it was a very controversial kind of success because it was banned in several places because of this graphic sexual depiction in the novel, and this is something that we find even in American tragedy. Many feminist scholars have read Jane Eyre as a portrayal of doppelganger tendency, where Bertha Rochester, the mad woman in the attic, which is also the title of a, no idea? Okay, yeah, it is the title of a feminist theory book, okay, by Susan Goober and Susan Gilbert. Okay, so, mad woman in the attic is a doppelganger of the heroine Jane Eyre. Why? Why is she a double? You have read Jane Eyre. Extremely alike and at the same time, you know, expressing several overlapping tendencies. You have, you know, the talented Mr. Ripley, you have a doppelganger there, okay. The two boys are almost, they can pass off as each other. So, in Jane Eyre, the repressed Bertha and the repressed and suppressed Jane Eyre, there is not much of a difference, that is the idea, okay. Because when you read Wild Sargasso Sea by Jean Rhys, that is the theory that Bertha in the beginning was as good as Jane Eyre. She was literally slowly driven mad by her husband, and because of the oppressive social conditions, sexual oppression, women's oppression and all the gender oppression, those kinds of things. Can you think of more doppelgangers? Full of, literature and cinema is full of doppelgangers. You just have to look for it, and you must have come across this phrase very frequently. This character mirrors the other character. What does it mean? It is not like a double role. It is like a character that is there, okay, who is so much like this guy. Now, Asta's character is almost like a literary double of Roberta at a later stage. Why? Roberta is the girl who gets abandoned, pregnant and abandoned by Clyde Griffiths. Okay, and now why is she a double? Both Asta and Roberta, they come from what kinds of families? Very deeply religious, a small town. Okay, families, they are, family values are ingrained in them. They are both pretty, they are both ambitious, but they do not know what to do with their ambitions and their prettiness. Okay, so what do? Both of them fall into wrong hands, and both of them think that this affair can take them out of their abject poverty. Okay, it does not happen. In one way, both these girls are also social climbers, not to the extent Clyde Griffiths is, but then these two are also trying their best, because for Roberta, Clyde Griffiths, because by virtue of his being related to the very wealthy Griffiths, he is upper class. You get the picture? For the Griffiths, he is not. The other day we were talking about poor relations, poor cousins, Express Avenue and all those kinds of things. So, now I am again go back to those ideas that Clyde Griffiths is a poor relation and he is looked down upon by the rich Griffiths, but not by Roberta, because for Roberta, and so there exists a binary. In naturalist literature, there is always these codes that exist very strongly, and funnily enough, even in the structure, when you look at the factory structure, why am I going to the factory so fast? Let me also take you to the hotel lobby. Hotel lobby, and where our hero is a bellboy, and you told me anyway the other day that bellboys carry luggage up and down. Okay, so what are they doing? Can they stay up there? Who stays up there in a hotel? The paying customers, the patrons. Can people like these bellboy ever dream of staying in a room in the executive suite of Park Sheraton Hotel? They can't. Where is their rightful place? In the lobby on the bench. Okay, in the lobby on the bench. So, do not you think those spatial hierarchies are established? Okay, do not you always find these things around you everywhere? Do not you? Okay, the topmost person of any institute always occupies the topmost floor. So, that is the hierarchy. Look around yourself and there are hierarchies all over. So, this is nothing new. So, Dreiser establishes this pattern from the beginning. So, you have to look for it. You are doing formalism with me. What is formalism? It is all about looking at language clues. When he comes to the factory in New York, okay, those luxurious places and all those things. So, what happens? Factory is extremely posh, he knows that, and where is he made to work? In the lowest of the low, basement. Just start learning the process of collar manufacturing, remember? Okay, and those things are done at the lowest bottom, literally even in the lower bottom of the factory's physical structure. The higher people, the topmost of Uncle Griffith and his son, what is his son's name?
Gilbert.
Gilbert, good. So, Gilbert Griffiths stay somewhere at the top, their offices are located at the top, factory people are located in the collar manufacturing. Now, what is this collar manufacturing? Have you ever heard of such a thing in Indian society, in Indian? Yeah, so what is collar? Yes, but why collar? I mean, don't you think that collars are anyway a part of the shirt? Okay, but separately collar manufacturing, they are not calling it shirt manufacturing, collar manufacturing. People aspire to reach a certain class of society, therefore they wore collars. So, therefore, such a menial job, but it added certain kinds. So, class distinctions are all over the place. That is the idea. What kinds of car you drove, what kinds of food you eat, what kinds of clothes you wear. This novel is full of those references, if you have read it. If you have read it, it is all over there. Okay, so, literary double, we have talked about Esther and we have talked about Roberta. Both girls from extremely poor family, lower middle class girls, both fall into wrong hands, get seduced by playboy type of boys and get pregnant and abandoned.
Similar character whom the boys are talking about, who is abandoned at the hotel.
Exactly, this is very important. There is another girl character, the boys talk about, the bell boys talk about this character, that there was this girl and the man just abandoned her in the hotel and didn't even bother to pay the, yeah. Now, do they feel sympathy for her?
they are adoring the man who did it. So
They are,
some of them are actually
they are
adoring the
full of
man who did it.
admiration for the man who has done this job, admirable job, very smart move, and they ridicule the girl who has led such a
Falling
kind of
for
thing.
such a man.
This is exactly what Clive thinks of first when he hears about his sister's story.
Exactly. Yeah.
He says, like how we ridiculed it then, and it's not so funny anymore when it's your own sister.
But when Roberta gets into the similar situation, then what are his views? You haven't reached that point, but what does he say? Okay, so what? Even my sister has been through it. Who came to help her? And whatever my sister did, she can do as well. Okay. That means that this is a way of life in a certain class of people. Now, I will just do a flash forward leap, not flashback, but flash forward in the same novel. Again a spoiler. Okay, so we know Roberta dies. Roberta dies because she is pregnant with a child, and I won't tell you how she dies, but Clyde Griffiths is accused of murdering her. Whether he murders her or not, that's up to you to decide, okay? Or whatever clues you get through the novel and whatever conclusions you draw. But Clyde is defended by a particularly sympathetic lawyer. He has a defense attorney, as they call it, right. So, he has a defense attorney, and there is this government lawyer also who is fighting for the dead girl, Roberta's. Now, these are also again two very distinctly drawn two kinds of men. So, the man who is defending Clyde Griffiths happens to be in the novel a very liberal man, okay? And once upon a time he too has got a girl into trouble the same way. What is that? Therefore, he is extremely sympathetic towards Clyde Griffiths' predicament, that what can a young man do in such a situation, that perhaps this was the only way out. But the attorney says that I was saved or defended by my family wealth, family money. He comes from a very wealthy family, we are told, and the family could pay for the girl's abortion, okay, and get the boy, let the boy go scot free. That is his, yeah. Now, what does it tell you about the social conditions? If you have money, you can get away. So, money again at the root cause of all things. Social conditions, again we know that Dreiser is one of the most Marxist of all writers. He was a free thinker. Dreiser himself had several such relationships. He could not bear to stay with his own very small town conservative wife. He made the mistake of marrying when he was quite young, and he abandoned her. He divorced her quite early, and then he lived in relationships, in and out of relationships with several women, and he never felt guilty about it. Now, we are talking again about puritanical element here. What was Dreiser rebelling against? Dreiser absolutely believed that such kind of puritanical codes of morality are outdated. Okay, so this is important. So, this is the major theme. Yes, social distinction, class distinction, socialism, money, all these things are very much there, but puritanical morality cannot be the way of life in 20th century. He was also extremely condemning of a society where young women had to bear the burden of being unwed mothers and be socially ostracized for it. Now, his contention was that, let us assume a girl gets pregnant and she is in trouble and she is pregnant, and the only way out for her is in those times to marry the guy. And what if the man is unwilling to marry? then live, commit, I mean do whatever, okay, but that is not, but she will be facing social ostracization for the rest of her life. This is what Dreiser was again. He said there are several cases in society around us all the time. Why should the poor girl bear the brunt of it? So, society has to change its attitude towards such girls, because when a girl gets into a trouble of this kind, then it is both men and women responsible. It is a collaborative effort, joint effort, it is not just the girl's fault. However, it is all as by way of redressal, this is also not true that force the reluctant boy to marry her, because what will this kind of marriage lead to? More misery, more tragedies. Okay, you never know what will happen to such kind of girls after they are boys who are forced to marry under such circumstances. What is their married life going to be like? That is the question. So, why do this at all? Why not just change our outlook towards such girls? Now, tell me, what is your comment?
We see most of the men who are abandoning the girls here, the pregnant girls here, like most of them are not talked about afterwards. Like they are going scot free, completely scot free, not. And like he is not offering a solution at all.
There is a solution? No. There is no solution. I mean, if you are talking about poetic justice, then Dreiser says, where is poetic justice? And that is the question that I would posit here also. Where is social justice, or where is poetic justice? Okay. So, what is required is change your outlook, change your because he only talks about the girls who are abandoned and left behind, not about boys. So, when your society itself is like this, made like that, what are you going to do about it? So, better change your puritanical way of things. So, all his works are consistently a rebellion against puritanical way of life.
Ma'am, this is more a doubt. In this period, were abortions legal?
Not at all, not at all. All these things happened much late. I think it was 1960s onwards. Yes, yes. Therefore, it was counterculture and the times of sexual liberation. It was absolutely not legal. So, all abortions are performed illegally, and you have to pay literally through your nose. If you have the money, you can get away with it. Hospitals would not do that for you, because again puritanical way of life, the deeply religious way of life, that you do not kill a life, right, and by aborting an unborn fetus you are killing a baby. So, that was the idea. So, Dreiser was all for it. He said it is a mistake, and why is it? It is not just a mistake, he never thought that sexual liberation or licentiousness of any kind, puritanical people, if you remember Milton's period, they were extremely against licentiousness. Remember that? This is the idea that people have to be extremely moral in their day to day lives and also on stage. Therefore, theatre was banned. This is a vehicle for corruption. Remember? Okay, we do not want theatre. Theatre, even in Plato's times, the idea was theatre and stage, it breeds corruption. You show all kinds of things. Oedipus is marrying his mother. What kind of people are you? So, poets and theatre people are just corrupt people who instill wrong ideas in the minds of the public. So, that was the idea. So, arts corrupt, art and artists corrupt the society, and that is what they say, because even with Clyde Griffiths, what is the first thing he does after becoming bellboy and earning money? He starts watching films. Yeah, and his puritanical family does not approve of watching. Nobody should go for these things. Therefore, very significantly, it is an actor that gets Esther pregnant. Okay, so this is a double shame for a family of this kind, puritanical family, that you have to go and mess around with an actor of all the people. So you have Esther, you have the girl who gets abandoned in hotel, and and then you have Roberta. So three kinds of girls who mirror each other, and Dreiser is never sympathetic towards anyone. He is never condemning towards the men who do these things. In fact, Clyde Griffiths actually think quite sympathetically of the boy who got his sister pregnant. Yeah, he says that, okay, so what could he have done? My sister is equally responsible. So that means the onus of preserving morality or chastity, whatever, is always on me. This is what Dreiser wanted to draw our attention to, that both men and women are equally responsible. Therefore, one has to change outlook towards women, because finally they get into trouble. Yeah, but he doesn't say that like in a very preachy sort of way.
He says it more as a justification for not giving her money.
Yes.
She should have been able to provide for herself if she had taken such a step.
Right. So all characters are assessed very objectively. Nobody is ever given any kind of sympathetic treatment except the mother, who suffers throughout. You have another instance of a double in the form of Clyde Griffiths and his cousin Gilbert Griffiths. If you have reached that point, you would know. Yes, please.
They are mentioned to look very alike.
Right.
That's all.
They look alike, they are almost of the same age, okay, almost of the same build.
That is being mentioned in the first part itself. Right? He imagines somebody of his own kind enjoying all the lectures that he cannot.
Yeah.
Complete opposite of.
What only if I had this, what only if I were born, several throughout the novel. You have language mirroring language throughout, when he thinks of everything. So, when he meets this person, if only I had this, if only I had enough money, I would get Hortense, if only I had money, I would get Sondra. Okay. So, even there is, if you read the novel very carefully, there is lot of language repetition, linguistic repetition. Okay. If only, and many a time this phrase is repeated several times in the novel. If only, that means what? What is it about? It is a novel of desire, ambition. He keeps on desiring things throughout the novel. Did you notice that? How much he desires things, and all those are material objects. Yes, absolute. He wants good clothes, so that if only he had good clothes, he would look better than Gilbert. Remember, if only I had I can groom myself in a better way. Because of his hotel industry experience, hospitality industry experience, he has already learned that what is good grooming all about, that what kind of people, what are the, he has acquired expensive taste by observing extremely rich people. So, he knows what is a luxurious what are luxurious clothes, what is expensive wine, what are expensive cars. So, he knows all this. If only I had money and I had all these things, I would get a girl like Sondra. If only I had all this, I would get a girl like Sondra, if I were like Gilbert. And why is it that I were not born in Gilbert's place? It is just a matter of accident that I was. So, all these desires lead to ambition, and ambition for he wants to work towards that, he wants to, and he is hard working. We are told he is hard working, but he is absolutely ill qualified, and that is what his uncle tells him in the beginning. You remember? Do you know typing? You know, no. It is like today asking someone, do you know C++? Okay, you do not know, then you are not of any use to us, right. So, do you know typing? No, you do not. Do you know accounts? No, you do not. Do you know this thing? No, you do not. So, all you can do is just sit in a bench and observe a bunch of girls who are into manufacturing collars. So, I will make you a supervisor, but it comes with a condition. What is that condition? There should be no socializing with these girls. Now, you are making a young, hot blooded, attractive male in charge of these factory girls, okay, who are all very young in their early 20s, and the boy is also 22, 23, something like that. And then you have put all these people to in one room, put together all these people in one room, and then giving strict instructions to everyone that there should not be any mixing outside working hours. There should not be socializing outside. Again, puritanical code of, yeah. So, what happens as a result of this? Does he stop dating Roberta? He does not. But how does he meet her? He starts meeting her outside the working hours and in dark alleys, dark streets, maybe going for movies, maybe going to some other city. Okay. What is Dreiser telling you? If you do not allow free mixing of boys and girls, then it is not like they are going to stop mixing. They will find other devious ways which are more dangerous. Now, tell me, an American tragedy, the title. Titles are always important. Portrait of a lady, right? So, a portrait gives you some kind of a close view of a person. Okay? So, here you get a portrait of Isabel Archer in that novel. Now, that therefore, the title is important. An American tragedy. Why American? A tragedy like this is a tragedy anywhere. What is so American about it? Actually, what Dreiser is telling you is that American dream has turned into an American nightmare. It is not just a tragedy, it is not a dream anymore, it is a nightmare. Now, what is, quickly tell me in America, what is an American dream? It is also a play by Edward Albee, by the way, okay, the guy who wrote Who is Afraid of Virginia Woolf and the Zoo Story. But American dream, the concept of American dream, who are those people? No, who, I mean as in writers. The writers who told you, who?
Fitzgerald told us.
Oh no, Fitzgerald again is critiquing people who upheld the idea of American dream, who originally coined the word American dream and who gave us the concept of American dream. American dream means that anyone who is industrious, determined enough and hardworking enough can reach the can attain success, can attain material and spiritual success. They do not talk about spiritual so much, but they can attain success in the American society by virtue of hard work and industriousness, and if you are disciplined enough, you dedicate yourself to attain this dream. And what is an average American's dream? A house of their own, no picket fences, picket fence house, yeah, a house well furnished with all the amenities like a refrigerator, a car. Car is at the, yes, a washing machine good and a good well equipped kitchen, but car symbolizes, so cars are here all over the place. They have, remember, car, the ultimate symbol of success in America. What happens with car in the initial stages? There is a huge, yeah, why car? You see, that is the importance. Car, you think that is a gateway to success and freedom and all those things. Young people, if a person like you owns a car, then you are like the cool dude on campus. Okay? So, this is like your passport to attain whatever you want. You are this kind of a magnet to everyone, to whom everyone would be drawn, because you have this thing. Okay. Your other things may not matter, but you have a car. So, car symbolizes the ultimate in success. Now, because with this car, Clyde Griffiths and his friends get into a situation from where there is no way out. he is always on the run. Okay, he gets into an accident, there is a death of a child. They run over a child. Some of the friends who are in the car, they also die. They meet with an accident, and after that some of them are taken away, arrested, and this boy is on the run. And then he finds there is no way out for him, so he should go and end up with his uncle Griffiths. He is actually running away from the law, and car gets him into it. So, American success, therefore, you look at it, the inversion of American dream. All the symbols that suggest, connotate success in America, actually they backfire for him. Because that is what Dreiser says, that when you just chase money and success and the concept of American dream so blindly, this is how you are going to end up. So, American dream, basically the concept was given to Horatio Alger and Benjamin Franklin. These are the architects of the notion of the American dream, and therefore, in the great Gatsby there is a point, Gatsby's diary reveals to us that he has been following certain points very diligently. Okay, read newspaper, read books, read whatever you can. Okay, then wash yourself twice a day or something like that, take bath twice a day, then do this, do this. Do you remember the list of things? And those are a straight lift from the people who, the precursors of American dream, the people who gave us the notion of American dream. You want to be success, you should be clean in mind and body. Inventor?
Have a timetable and
Exactly, yes. So, that is the idea, that you follow the success model, and the success model is given to us by people like these. So, these names are invoked several times in all works on American dream, and this is, but here the novel is an indictment of the hollowness of the American dream. Anyone can be, if you are ambitious enough, you can be successful, but then you are going into a very dangerous territory according to Dreiser. Dreiser was 49, perhaps in his late 40s, 48 or 49 when he wrote this novel, and he said, I am done with it and I know how the amount of flack I am going to get from this book, because again this was again stepping into the same old familiar territory of sexual and moral excesses and then getting into trouble and all, and he thought, what's the use, this book is also going to get banned and I am not going to make anything. But then the book became a roaring success because the times maybe were different by then. People started appreciating what he was telling them. Any comments, any questions? So, what is your takeaway from here? This is a novel of desire and ambition. Okay? The entire novel works on a system of binaries, this versus this versus this, religion versus sexual modes, puritanical versus sexual modes. Okay, so there has to be equal justice for all, and I mean, or maybe there is justice for the chosen few who are very rich. Therefore, I give you the example of that attorney who has done the same thing, but got away with it. Literary doppelgangers. So, you have doppelgangers of Roberta types and Esther, and then you have people like Clyde Griffiths and Gilbert Griffiths. The cousins resent each other because both of them, Gilbert is absolutely contemptuous of him, that a man like him looks like me, you know, what will be my social status now tomorrow? If he wears good clothes, then he can even pass off as me, and he is something that because of his snobbery, he does not like that, whereas Clyde would love to become like Gilbert. You should also know that when Sondra picks Clyde Griffiths, why does she do that? Why would a girl from such an upper class society even date someone like him? She does it initially to prove a point to Gilbert, who has snubbed her several times. Yeah, because in Gilbert's society, Sondra is nothing. Okay, for Gilbert, Sondra is just another rich girl, a rich, pretty girl.
Also, they have this they distinguish between the rich people who show off their wealth,
Yeah.
and the
Old
older
money,
family.
new money.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Like the mother makes that, Mrs. Griffiths makes that
distinction very clear.
She does not think much of the Finchleys.
Yeah.
Sondra's family.
So, even among the rich people there is this snobbishness existing, old money, new money, that you have seen in the Great Gatsby also. East side, west side, yeah. So, east egg, west egg, yes. So, you have that distinction. Now, you know that here also, so the idea that Sondra picks this boy, gets interested in this boy because she has been consistently turned down by Gilbert. So, again this versus that, the doppelganger that exists. Okay. And also the idea of American dream turn into an American nightmare, that is an American tragedy. So, therefore, the title. We will stop here.